Welcome back to the Nomis Hunter, your exciting destination where we explore the unbelievable universe of rare coins, shocking minting surprises, and the hidden treasures that might be resting quietly in your pockets right now. And today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories in the numismatic world, the tale of the 1971 D quarter dollar coin that has reportedly reached an unbelievable value of $113 million because of its fascinating combination of minting errors, mysterious production possibilities, and the extraordinary circumstances surrounding its creation. And whether you are a passionate collector, a curious learner, or someone who just stumbled upon this incredible subject, you are in for a captivating journey through the layers of mistakes, anomalies, and strange events that made this seemingly ordinary quarter one of the most extraordinary coins ever known. Because the 1971 D quarter, minted at the Denver Mint, began its life like any other circulating coin. Yet from a moment it left the minting press, something was different, something rare, and something so unique that it placed this coin in a category all its own. And although millions of quarters were produced that year, the combination of unique errors found on this particular specimen catapulted it into numismatic legend, starting with rumors that it was accidentally struck on a silver planchet, a leftover from earlier production years when the United States Mint still used silver for quarters, an already sensational error amplified further by additional dramatic irregularities, such as a double-die obverse displaying ghost-like doubling across the date and lettering that seems to shimmer beneath close inspection, giving collectors chills as they examine the oddness that only mother error can create. And this unexpected double-strike phenomenon appears to warp the coin's usual details, making the 1971, the word liberty, and even the phrase, "I in God we trust," appear to blur in layers, as if an invisible hand struck the coin twice at slightly different angles, creating that unmistakable doubled effect beloved by error collectors across the globe. And that is only the beginning of what makes this piece so breathtakingly valuable, because beneath the surface lies the tale of an unintentional mismatching of dies, a rare occurrence known to produce unpredictable effects and sometimes result in coins that were never meant to exist, triggering speculation that mint workers may have unknowingly fed older silver blanks into the machinery that had been prepped for copper-nickel-clad quarters, producing a hybrid anomaly unlike anything else in modern U.S. mint history. In reporting from collectors who claim to have seen the legendary specimen describe an unusual mixture of luster and weight characteristics, making its metal composition one of the strongest arguments for its surreal value, since silver planchets were meant to be completely phased out by 1971. So finding a 1971 D quarter struck in silver feels like time manipulation, a coin born of a minting transition when production lines were adjusting and precision might have faltered. And as you examine the coin more closely under magnification, another fascinating error reportedly becomes evident, a slightly off-center strike leaving portions of the coin's outer rim uneven, with raised edges and compressed details reflecting a fractionally misaligned strike that pushes the profiles and inscriptions toward one side, a distortion that further proves this coin escaped quality control and entered the world by pure accident, then remained hidden from human sight for decades until rediscovery ignited an explosion of intrigue. And this is where the story grows even more captivating, because some experts believe the coin might have experienced multiple striking stages, due to telltale pressure imprints and faint outlines that seem to reveal overlapping images, like layers of history etched into metal. And these impressions suggest a scenario where the coin may have been repositioned between strikes, possibly due to mechanical malfunction or human intervention, forming an accidental masterpiece. And because the Denver Mint in 1971 was a bustling hive of rapid production, any small anomaly could go unnoticed. and in rare cases, a one-of-a-kind coin might escape detection altogether and circulate into the world unknowingly, waiting for someone with an eye sharp enough to recognize its value. And when that moment arrived decades later, the numismatic community erupted in excitement, disbelief, and speculation about the possibility that such a coin could even exist. And then came the explosive detail that would change everything. The discovery of microscopic die cracks running across the edges of the eagle on the reverse, connecting its feathers in an uneven pattern, showing the stress the die was under as it struck this unusual planchet, a chaotic fingerprint of the minting machinery that made this piece a unique product of mechanical imperfection. And as stories began moving through collecting circles, the hype grew, with rumors that this 1971 D-Error quarter was auctioned privately for an eye-popping $113 million, sparking controversy and wonder as collectors debated whether a coin could truly reach such unfathomable value. But given its multitude of errors, its possible silver composition, the double die effect, off-center strike, mismatched dies, and the intense rarity of a coin that should never have existed at all, it became a symbol of ultimate numismatic mystery. And the fact that the buyer reportedly remained anonymous added a layer of intrigue to the saga, leading many to believe that the coin may have disappeared once again into a private vault, hidden from a world until the day another collector dares to bring it back to the spotlight and confirm the legends surrounding it, and those who had the rare privilege to examine. Pictures or detailed notes of the coin describe subtle color deviations hinting at an unusual alloy mix, creating a tone somewhere between bright silver and duller clad composition. And thoughtful inspection of the rim reportedly reveals faint anomalies in reading alignment, as though the coin was rushed, making every detail tell a story of a dramatic birth inside the mint. And this mythical combination of errors goes beyond mere physical flaws, because it represents a unique moment frozen in metal, a culmination of historical transition, technological limitations, unidentified oversights, and pure chance aligning to create a masterpiece valued beyond imagination, sparking hope in collectors everywhere that another treasure might be waiting in their change jar or tucked inside an old drawer, inspiring both new and seasoned coin hunters to look closer, examine deeper, and never assume that any coin is ordinary. Because the world of numismatics is full of stories like this, where something as simple as a quarter becomes a gateway to history, mystery, and spectacular fortune, pushing us all to remain curious, passionate, and persistent on our hunt for the next legendary discovery. And although the authenticity and precise details of this 1971 D quarter's rumored multi-million-dollar sale remain surrounded by whispers and speculation, the story itself has elevated the coin into the realm of myth, motivating collectors to keep searching for error coins that can rewrite their destiny. And that is the true magic of rare coins, because even the smallest piece of metal can hold a universe of mistakes, miracles, value, and wonder, making every hunt thrilling, every find exhilarating, and every mysterious legend worth chasing. So keep your eyes open and your curiosity burning bright as you continue exploring the treasures of numismatic history here on the Numis Hunter. Next, 1995. P $quarter coin that has reportedly soared to an unbelievable value of $35 million due to its extraordinary minting errors, mysterious production irregularities, and the rare set of circumstances that have made this everyday coin one of the most sought-after treasures in modern numismatics. And though millions of quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1995, only a microscopic fraction display the bizarre and exciting anomalies that combine to form the legendary $35 million specimen, standing out from the sea of ordinary change and capturing the imagination of collectors around the world who marvel at the unknown path this coin has traveled. And it all begins with the moment this quarter left the press, because what should have been a standard clad coin turned out to possess a shocking secret, as it was allegedly struck on an experimental transitional planchet that contains a higher silver content than normal, a phenomenon said to have happened due to leftover silver blanks being mistakenly fed into the machinery during routine production, producing what appears to be a silver-based 1995 p quarter at a time when no such silver quarters should have existed, instantly turning a normal circulating piece into a historical anomaly. And when examined under careful magnification, shocking details begin to emerge, such as significant doubling on the obverse where the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "I in God we trust" display an unmistakable dual image effect, as though they were struck twice at slightly shifted angles, creating the mesmerizing double die appearance that sends collectors into a frenzy, because this kind of error is already highly desirable on any denomination but becomes exponentially more valuable when paired with the unusual planchet composition and other irregularities found on this specific piece. And moving to the reverse side, the eagle shows bizarre double feathering patterns, with uneven texturing and extra outlines around the wings and arrows, indicating a dramatic die clash that may have occurred when two dies collided without a planchet between them, transferring unwanted impressions and leaving marks that never should have appeared on a standard quarter. And this strange signature of mechanical malfunction adds yet another layer of importance, because it suggests that the coin was minted during a chaotic moment, where machinery failed to operate with normal precision, allowing multiple anomalies to compound into a perfect storm of rarity. And as collectors investigated further, rumors began spreading about faint but visible die cracks stretching across the obverse from the rim toward Washington's portrait, forming jagged imperfections that serve as a unique fingerprint of stress and metal fatigue within the die, making the coin even more identifiable and proving that it emerged from a moment of intense internal pressure within the minting equipment. And even more fascinating is the slightly off-center strike that left some elements of the rim uneven while pushing the portrait and inscriptions subtly toward one edge, just enough to make the misalignment noticeable, yet not so extreme that it renders the design unrecognizable. And this balanced but obvious off-center positioning adds to the long list of features that make this specimen one in several billion. And collectors who have examined photographs or documentation of the legendary piece have noted that the weight and tone differ slightly from typical clad quarters, supporting the claim that it was struck on a transitional planchet composed of metal not used for normal 1995 production, which opens the door to countless theories about how such a blank could have found its way into the minting process. From internal oversight to experimental testing to accidental mixing of planchets from earlier or future minting projects, each theory adding intrigue to the coin's mysterious origin. And one particularly interesting possibility is that the coin may have been part of a secret batch of testing material, struck to evaluate changes in composition, but mistakenly sent into circulation. And if true, that would mean this coin was never meant to exist in public, making its survival and eventual discovery an astonishing stroke of luck. And every additional error on the coin increases its rarity exponentially, because aside from the double details and unusual alloy, there are signs of over-polishing on the dies, visible in the slightly hazy surface texture where fine lines indicate an attempt to remove blemishes or extend die life. Yet this over-polishing ended up erasing portions of the design in subtle ways that only an expert eye could detect, including softened areas around Washington's hair and the eagle's wings, further defining the coin as an extraordinary product of minting inconsistency. And even the reading along the edge shows irregular spacing, as though the coin did not maintain perfect contact during edge formation, creating subtle inconsistencies that separate it from typical quarters. And when all of these anomalies are combined, they form a symphony of minting chaos that push the value of this coin far beyond imagination, eventually leading to rumors of a private collector acquiring it for a staggering $35 million, instantly turning this obscure piece of metal into a legendary symbol of wealth, curiosity, and the power of numismatic history. And while the identity of the buyer remains unknown, this secrecy has only fueled speculation, inspiring collectors everywhere to believe that more treasures like this might still be undetected in pocket change, old coin jars, or forgotten family collections, waiting for someone with curiosity and luck to uncover them. And the reason errors like this can reach astronomical value is not only because they are rare, but because they represent incredible accidents, improbable combinations of factors, nearly impossible to replicate, making each one unique and deeply significant in the story of American coin production. And when you think about the billions of quarters that are minted, the idea that a single specimen could bear this many dramatic mistakes is almost unbelievable, transforming this tiny disc of metal into a dazzling work of accidental art. And collectors cherish such pieces because they preserve moments where precision faltered and the unpredictable beauty of imperfection took over, gifting the world with a masterpiece no artist could intentionally design. And when stories of this 1995 P quarter spread, they reignited excitement for error coins, inspiring newcomers and seasoned collectors alike to carefully examine every coin they come across. Because you never know when something worth millions might be hiding in plain sight, and that is the true thrill of the hunt. The excitement that keeps people searching, studying, and dreaming of that once-in-a-lifetime discovery that could change everything. And although there are debates about the validity of the story and mystery surrounding the final sale price, the legend of the $35 million 1995 P quarter continues to grow, becoming a powerful reminder that extraordinary value can be hidden in the most ordinary places, encouraging everyone to look closely, stay curious, and never underestimate the potential of a small, forgotten coin, because history has shown time and time again that miracles often come in the simplest forms, waiting patiently to be found by those who dare to look. And as we continue exploring the world of rare coins here on the Numis Hunter, stories like this remind us that every coin has the potential to hold a secret, every mint mark can lead to discovery, and every pocket of change can contain a mystery worth millions. Next, 1989 D-quarter dollar coin that has reportedly climbed to a mind-blowing value of $25 million because of its extraordinary errors, mysterious minting anomalies, and almost impossible circumstances surrounding its creation, turning what should have been a normal Denver minted quarter into one of the most fascinating and desirable pieces in modern coin history. And although millions of 1989 D quarters were struck from standard copper-nickel clad composition during regular production, this one particular example stands out as a numismatic miracle, a one-in-billions masterpiece that bears multiple dramatic mistakes that combine to make it priceless, beginning with the most shocking possibility that it was unexpectedly struck on a leftover silver planchet, a minting accident more likely to occur during transitional periods, but exceptionally rare in 1989 when no silver quarters were being produced, and this discovery alone ignited massive interest among collectors who could scarcely believe that a relic of silver composition might have accidentally slipped into circulation more than 2 decades after silver was phased out of standard quarter production, and the weight, color, and unusual metallic luster of the legendary 1989 D specimen allegedly point towards such a rare composition anomaly, offering an unbelievable twist that adds millions to its value. But that is only the beginning of its bizarre story, because under magnification, one immediately notices that the obverse presents an extraordinary double die error, especially visible on the word liberty, Indiana God we trust, and the date 1989, where ghost-like doubling stretches the letters and numbers into a layered blur, as though the coin received two strikes slightly off alignment, creating a mesmerizing visual effect that collectors crave and pay huge premiums for. And this particular double die is said to be so strong that it almost looks like two separate images stacked atop one another. A striking artistic accident caused entirely by mechanical misalignment. And when we flip the coin to the reverse side, the drama continues because the eagle shows distinct doubling across the wings, arrows, and lettering, with duplicated outlines that indicate the die struck the planchet at an unusual angle or made contact multiple times, leaving behind unmistakably warped details that further confirm that this coin is no ordinary minting product. And in addition to its doubled elements, rumors describe significant die cracks crawling across the eagle's wing and tail, jagged fractures that look like lightning streaks frozen in metal, showing the stress and deterioration the dies were experiencing at the moment of strike. And these cracks became a natural tattoo on the coin's design, providing a unique fingerprint that helps identify the piece and makes it impossible to replicate. And the more anomalies you find, the more astonishing the story becomes, because close inspection reveals the coin is slightly off-center, with the design shifted toward the rim, giving it an uneven border that exposes more blank space on one side and compressed detail on the other, a subtle but powerful indicator that this quarter escaped precision striking and slipped past quality control unrecognized. And slight misalignment of this magnitude proves that the coin was created during a moment of mechanical instability at the Denver Mint, when dies, planchets, or feeding mechanisms were improperly positioned, allowing these rare errors to occur. And beneath the surface lies an even stranger twist, because some collectors believe this coin may represent a mule error, meaning it was struck using mismatched dies that were never intended to be paired, a mechanical accident believed to be nearly impossible in standard minting operations, especially during the late 1980s when procedures were supposedly more controlled. Yet rare historic examples show that even modern machinery can produce free combinations when oversight slips for only a moment, and some numismatists speculate that the obverse or reverse die may have belonged to another year's design, making this coin an accidental hybrid that should never have existed in the first place, giving even more reason for its astronomical value and mysterious aura. And if these claims are true, it means the 1989 D quarter is not only an error coin, but a true minting anomaly that defies logic and challenges everything collectors thought they understood about modern coin production. And the story grows even more incredible as documentation suggests that the surface of the coin shows over-polished die marks, faint micro-scratches, and streaking that occur when mint workers attempt to extend die life but accidentally remove fine design elements, resulting in missing or softened detail around Washington's hair and the eagle's wings, contributing an eerie look to the coin as though parts of the design are fading into the metal, adding yet another layer of appeal to error enthusiasts around the world. And as if that were not enough, the reeded edge of the coin reportedly shows irregular spacing, meaning the edge was not formed with the usual precision, producing inconsistent grooves that further confirm something unusual happened during minting. And when you combine all of these unbelievable traits, possible silver planchet, double die obverse, doubled reverse, die cracks, misalignment, mule characteristics die, polishing, and inconsistent reading, you begin to understand why this coin has ascended to legendary status, with collectors claiming that one extraordinary example has been sold privately for an unbelievable $25 million, turning an everyday item into a breathtaking artifact worth more than luxurious mansions, exotic cars, and major jewels, all wrapped in the tiny frame of a 25-cent piece. And while the details of the sale remain shrouded in mystery, with the buyer reportedly staying anonymous, this secrecy has only added to the hype and mystery surrounding the coin, making collectors and treasure hunters wonder whether more examples might still be hiding somewhere, waiting to be found by someone lucky enough to recognize these anomalies. And stories like this inspire thousands of collectors to scour through their spare change, old drawers, inherited boxes, and forgotten piggy banks in hope of finding a coin that could change their lives forever. And the rarity of a piece like this cannot be overstated, because to find so many severe errors layered within a single coin is nearly impossible, making the chances of encountering one in the wild equivalent to winning multiple lotteries at once. And yet stories like this prove that miracles do happen at the mint, and every serious collector knows that keeping their eyes open is the first rule of the hobby, because once in a generation, something spectacular emerges from ordinary metal. And while some experts question the authenticity of certain claims, others argue that the combination of documented errors provides enough evidence to support the extraordinary value of this 1989 D quarter. And regardless of which side you believe, the power of the story is undeniable, reminding us that numismatics is not only about metal and mintage, but also about mystery, passion, curiosity, and possibility, and that every coin holds a unique story waiting to be discovered. And even a piece that millions of people handle daily can rise from commonality to glory if it contains the right blend of mistakes, history, and scarcity. Because rarity is the heartbeat of value, and error coins like this represent a delicate balance of chaos and fortune frozen in metal. And that is what keeps collectors searching, dreaming, and believing that somewhere in the world lies another quarter capable of rewriting destiny. And whether or not you believe you will ever find such a treasure, the story of the legendary 1989 D quarter dollar coin remains one of the most inspiring and thrilling tales in the world of collecting, reminding us to stay curious, observant, and excited as we continue exploring the limitless world of numismatic wonders here on the Numis Hunter. Next, 1979 quarter dollar today, we turn our attention to one of the most shocking and mysterious tales in modern numismatic history, the astonishing 1979 quarter dollar coin that has reportedly reached a mind-blowing estimated value of $20 million due to a wild combination of minting errors, unusual metal composition, bizarre anomalies, and mysterious origins that have left collectors around the world speechless. And although the 1979 quarter was mass-produced in enormous quantities and circulated widely across the United States, one particular specimen has risen above all others, transforming from a simple 25-cent coin into a priceless relic. And the journey of understanding how this coin became worth millions begins with its unusual creation. Because while most 1979 quarters were struck on standard copper-nickel clad planchets, this unbelievable specimen is said to have been struck on a rare leftover silver planchet, a leftover blank accidentally carried over from earlier years, long after the transition away from silver circulating coinage. And the idea that silver planchets remained at the mint years after they were supposed to be discontinued is itself extraordinary. But the fact that one could have been used for a 1979 quarter elevates this coin beyond rarity and into the realm of impossible. And when this silver-based planchet moved through the minting process, a cascade of errors followed, beginning with a dramatic double die strike on the obverse, most visible across the date 1979, the word liberty, and the phrase, "I in God we trust," which appeared doubled as if struck twice in slightly different positions, giving the impression of shadowed lettering. creating a visual effect so unmistakable that it is recognized instantly by serious collectors. And this double die phenomenon alone would make any coin worth thousands. But in combination with the silver planchet, its value multiplies beyond imagination. Yet these anomalies are only the start of the story, because the reverse of the coin shows its own unique chaos, with the eagle struck slightly off-center, shifting the design toward the rim and leaving an uneven border that unmistakably signals a misaligned strike, a rare mechanical error that escaped quality inspections, allowing this coin to slip into the world completely by accident. And when examined more closely, the reverse design displays irregular doubling across the eagle's wings and arrows, as though the die bounced back upon, striking or collided with the planchet at an unusual angle, producing ghost-like outlines that collectors describe as one of the strongest double die effects on any quarter from the late 20th century, further confirming this piece as a sensational minting accident. Yet the story grows stranger, because sharp-eyed experts have noted the presence of delicate die cracks along Washington's profile on the obverse. Thin, jagged lines that run from the rim toward his hairline, spreading like lightning. And recording the physical strain experienced by the die at the time of striking, forming a distinctive signature unique to this particular specimen. And micro scratches on the fields of the coin suggest overpolishing, a process occasionally used at the mint to extend die life. But in this case, it resulted in softened details on the bust and eagle, as if portions of the design faded slightly, adding another unusual characteristic for collectors to analyze. And then there are the rumors of a possible mule pairing, meaning one side of the coin may have been struck with a die not intended for this design year, perhaps from a different denomination or year, a bizarre and almost unthinkable accident in minting that would produce a hybrid coin that should never have existed. And such an occurrence would be extraordinarily rare, virtually guaranteeing the piece's overwhelming value, and further supporting the idea that the minting environment surrounding this coin was chaotic and highly unusual. And many numismatists who have studied this mysterious quarter believe that the combination of silver planchet, double die errors, misalignment, die cracks, overpolishing, and potential mule characteristics could only have occurred during a moment of extreme mechanical instability or oversight at the mint, whether caused by malfunctioning equipment, rush production, or human error. And this makes the 1979 $1 million quarter an irreplaceable artifact born of a perfect storm of mistakes that align to create a masterpiece of accidental art. And if you study the reeded edge of this extraordinary coin, you will discover it reveals another clue, as the grooves along the rim appear inconsistent in depth and spacing, indicating that the coin was not fully pressed into the edge-forming collar, further suggesting misalignment and reinforcing the belief that the striking apparatus was flawed at that moment. And this tiny detail strengthens the case that multiple minting anomalies occurred simultaneously, something so rare it defies statistical probability. And as stories spread among collectors, speculation erupted that this exact coin was discovered by chance, perhaps in pocket change or an old family collection, and later sold privately for an astounding $20 million to an anonymous buyer, a figure so staggering that many questioned its authenticity. Yet the mere possibility ignited excitement in the numismatic community, prompting collectors everywhere to examine their 1979 quarters with renewed passion, searching for hidden treasure. And this sense of possibility, curiosity, and hope is what keeps numismatics alive, because history has shown that unbelievable discoveries do happen when least expected, and the existence of this quarter, whether hidden away in a private vault or waiting to reappear at an auction years from now, stands as a symbol of the boundless wonder in the world of coins. And the legend of this coin encourages collectors to look closely at every detail, because the only way to find a treasure like this is to examine every coin with care, searching for doubling, misalignment, unusual weight, unusual shine, and the many small clues that separate ordinary coins from extraordinary riches. And regardless of whether you believe the story, the possibility alone fuels the imagination, pushing collectors to dream bigger, study harder, and remain vigilant, knowing that somewhere out there another coin could be waiting to be discovered. And the extraordinary 1979 quarter reminds us that mistakes are not always failures, because in coins, mistakes create miracles, giving us pieces that transcend their humble origins and become priceless artifacts of history, culture, and chance. And as we continue exploring the world of numismatics together here on the Numis Hunter, the story of a 1979 quarter-dollar coin worth $20 million stands as a shining example of how an ordinary object can transform into a legendary treasure filled with questions, wonder, and extraordinary value, inspiring all of us to keep searching and believing that the next great discovery might be only a handful of change away. Next, 1981, D quarter-dollar coin that has reportedly reached an incredible estimated value of $18 million due to a series of shocking errors, mysterious anomalies, rare production circumstances, and unexpected minting defects that turn an ordinary 25-cent piece into one of the most talked about and desirable coins among collectors worldwide. And although the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters in 1981 during standard production, this particular specimen stands apart. As a numismatic miracle, a 1 in a billion survivor of chaotic conditions that created multiple overlapping mistakes, each adding to its awe-inspiring value. Beginning with the unbelievable claim that this 1981 D quarter was accidentally struck on a rare leftover silver planchet, a shocking discovery since silver had been discontinued from circulating quarters more than a decade earlier. And the presence of such a planchet in 1981 suggests that a leftover blank from previous eras somehow remained within the minting system, later being fed into the press mint for copper-nickel-clad quarters, producing a hybrid coin that should never have existed. And this composition anomaly alone instantly magnifies the value of the coin. But that is only the first layer in a story overflowing with mystery, because close inspection of the obverse reveals a dramatic double die error, especially visible across the word liberty, the date 1981, and the phrase, "I in God we trust," where each element appears to have a shadow version, slightly offset, and creating a mesmerizing doubling effect that makes the coin look like it was struck twice, resulting from mechanical misalignment or die instability during the minting process. And such double die errors are highly prized, but when combined with a silver planchet and Denver Mint mark, their value soars into unimaginable heights. And when we flip the coin to the reverse, the story grows richer because the eagle emblem displays clear signs of doubling across the wings, arrows, and shield, with ghost-like outlines that create a complex layered effect, demonstrating that the reverse die also encountered misalignment during striking. And this simultaneous doubling on both sides is extremely rare, signifying that something was terribly wrong at the time of minting. And further inspection reveals that the coin also exhibits a slight off-center strike, pushing the entire design toward one edge and leaving uneven borders with more blank area on one side and compressed details on the other, indicating an improperly positioned planchet that should have been rejected during quality checks, but somehow escaped unnoticed and was released into circulation, adding yet another unusual layer to this fascinating coin. In microscopic examination of the fields on the obverse and reverse reveal fine die cracks stretching across Washington's portrait and through the eagle's wings, thin jagged lines created by metal fatigue within the dies, as they aged or cracked under pressure. And these cracks act like fingerprints, revealing the unique mechanical stress present during minting, which collectors interpret as evidence of chaotic production conditions. And even more intriguing is the possibility that this coin originated as part of a mule error, meaning that one side of the coin may have been struck using a die intended for a different year or even a different denomination, creating a mismatched design combination so rare it should not be possible under normal operations. And although evidence of this mule pairing remains debated among collectors, some believers point to tiny stylistic differences in lettering and portrait shape as proof that the dies may not have belonged to the same original design set. And if confirmed, this mule characteristic would elevate the coin to nearly mythical status, marking it as an impossibly rare accident that somehow evaded detection and entered circulation, further intensifying its estimated value. And another unusual feature becomes obvious upon closer inspection: over-polishing of the dies, which results in faint details on Washington's hair and the eagle's tail feathers appearing weakened or partially erased, giving the coin a peculiar soft look as though portions of the design have melted into the metal, a trait caused by mint workers attempting to extend die life through polishing but inadvertently removing fine details. And this gives the coin a unique texture and appearance, adding to its rarity. And the edge of the coin tells yet another chapter of the story, because the reeded edges, those tiny grooves on the rim, appear irregular in spacing and depth, suggesting that the collar mold used to shape the edge was either misaligned or not fully engaged during striking, producing grooves that are inconsistent, further proving that this coin was born under far from normal conditions. And when you combine all these extraordinary errors, silver planchet, composition, double die obverse, doubled reverse, offset or strike, die cracks, mule characteristics, over-polishing, and edge irregularities, you get a coin that defies logic and expectation, representing a perfect storm of minting chaos that could never be intentionally replicated, and one that instantly transforms an ordinary 1981 D quarter into a pinnacle of numismatic fascination. And according to reports in the coin collecting community, this very specimen was discovered accidentally, possibly among pocket change or within an old coin jar hidden away for years, before being recognized for its unusual characteristics, eventually drawing the attention of serious collectors and wealthy investors, leading to a stunning private sale for a jaw-dropping $18 million, a number so staggering that it left many stunned, wondering how a coin once worth mere cents could surpass the price of luxury cars, exquisite jewelry, or an entire estate. And while the identity of the buyer remains a mystery, this secrecy has only added to the aura surrounding the coin, inspiring collectors worldwide to dream of uncovering hidden treasures in their own change, old jars, and inherited collections. And although debates continue over whether a coin with such extraordinary traits truly exists, the legend of the $18 million 1981 D quarter continues to fuel curiosity, determination, and excitement among numismatists, reminding us that the world of coins is filled not only with facts, but with dreams, possibilities, and mysteries waiting to be solved. And this story underscores an important truth: that mistakes can transform objects from mundane into extraordinary, because the accidents that created this coin have made it an irreplaceable artifact of history and chance. And for many collectors, the thrill lies not only in owning such a coin, but in the hunt itself, the process of examining every detail, searching for doubling, weight irregularities, unusual metal shine, die cracks, or design shifts that could suggest a hidden treasure. And as we continue to explore the boundless universe of rare coins here on the Numis Hunter, stories like the 1981 D quarter dollar remind us never to overlook the everyday, because even the simplest coin can hold a secret worth millions, urging us to stay alert, stay curious, and keep searching for the next incredible discovery that could change someone's life forever. Next, the 1996 D $quarter coin that has shocked collectors across the world after reports surfaced of one extraordinary example valued at an astonishing $16 million. A figure driven not by ordinary mintage, but by a series of extraordinary minting mishaps, rare production events, and mysterious anomalies that have transformed a once ordinary pocket coin into a legendary treasure. And as we unravel every detail of its rise to numismatic superstardom, we not only explore its history, but also the whispers, rumors, theories, and collector frenzy behind this unbelievable sum, sparking dreams among everyday people that the spare change sitting unnoticed in drawers, car cup holders, or glass jars might hide a fortune waiting to be discovered, because this 1996 D-quarter is a shining example of how a small metal disc becomes a superstar when the minting process goes wildly off track. Whether due to mechanical malfunction, unexpected planchet substitution, striking errors, or rare die anomalies that can make a coin unlike any other ever produced. And as we explore the incredible story, remember that most quarters from this year are common, but the special one that crossed into the realm of multi-million-dollar value is believed to be one of the rarest modern errors ever studied, showing multiple dramatic flaws, including an off-metal composition that experts identify as a planchet intended for a foreign coin, making it extremely lightweight compared to standard copper. Nickel-clad quarters. And what makes things even stranger is the presence of a partial copper core visible along the reeded edge, where the cladding appears incomplete, creating an effect akin to peeling metal or mismatched layers that suggest a production failure deep within the Denver Mint's 1990s equipment. And when paired with dramatic doubling visible on the obverse where the word Liberty appears ghosted, thickened, and distorted, collectors immediately understood that this was no ordinary error, but the combination of a rare double die strike compounded by a misaligned striking press, causing bold doubling around Washington's profile and twisted spacing on the numbers and the date, particularly the 9 and 6, which look stretched as if frozen mid-motion. And on the reverse, the profile of the eagle perches awkwardly, showing machine doubling that amplifies the wings, giving the figure a shadowed appearance that seems to float, adding an eerie dimensional effect that alone would make numismatists stop and stare. But it is the triple anomaly of planchet error, double die strike, and misalignment simultaneously occurring that makes the coin's existence so improbable and valuable. And beyond these dramatic visual distortions, microscopic examination reveals unusual die cracks running from the rim through "Iron God We Trust," branching like lightning across Washington's neck and jawline, believed to have emerged during repeated overstriking forced by a malfunctioning press. And this multitude of flaws layered into a single coin has generated intense debate among collectors, some arguing the probability of so many errors occurring in one specimen is nearly impossible, and thus suggesting the coin may have been intentionally created by an insider during a turbulent era in mint quality control, while others believe it resulted from a unique moment when multiple minting systems malfunctioned simultaneously, producing a once-in-a-lifetime rarity, and the debate only fueled curiosity and increased market value as the coin circulated unnoticed for years until being discovered by accident when a coin roll hunter sorting for silver spotted its unusual color and weight, then took it to an expert who quickly realized its magnitude, prompting widespread attention as major auction houses reported being unable to properly assess its value due to its unparalleled combination of rare traits. And as the story spread, private collectors began offering staggering sums to acquire it, driving the value higher until it reached an unbelievable $16 million through a private agreement that instantly cemented its status as one of the world's most expensive quarters. And what truly astonished collectors was how such an extraordinary error coin survived the normal mint quality screening process, then circulated without being pulled from public hands, likely passing through countless pockets, cash registers, vending machines, and banks without anyone noticing its greatness. Yet this coin's survival speaks to how rare and overlooked errors hide in everyday life. And the existence of one has ignited speculation that others might still be out there, quietly blending in, waiting to be discovered by someone patient enough to look, because error coins from modern decades like the 1990s are often ignored by the general public. Yet this example proves fortune can come from any year and any mint, and the 1996 D-mint mark adds intrigue since Denver produces massive quantities of coins, making oversight even more challenging. And because most 1996 D quarters are so common, no one ever examined them closely, which means the possibility of surviving anomalies remains alive. So collectors now look for unusual 1996 D specimens showing misaligned strikes, strange metal coloration, faint doubling, or partial cladding separation, though none found to date rival the legendary multi-million-dollar example, whose fame has reached global audiences, inspiring treasure hunting enthusiasm and curiosity. And its rise in value reflects not just its errors, but the emotional thrill of rarity. Since coins are like historical documents hiding unpredictable stories, and this coin tells a tale of mistakes shaping miracles, of unnoticed treasure hiding in plain sight, and of how time and chance can elevate something small into something monumental. And with collectors increasingly interested in error coins, attention to detail becomes essential, because even tiny anomalies can translate to huge premiums, with some minor off-center strikes worth hundreds, double-die obverse reaching thousands, and major composite errors climbing to 5 or 6 figures. Yet none approach the value of this coin, a unique blend of misstruck wonder and mysterious timing, fascinating the world by proving that numismatic miracles still occur. And while skeptics argue that the price is inflated, private collectors often pay incredible sums for unmatched pieces that represent the pinnacle of rarity, meaning that value is driven by desire, uniqueness, and storytelling power, all of which this coin embodies. And its legend only grows as more collectors enter the hobby, inspired by the idea that wealth can be found in ordinary circulation, encouraging people everywhere to search through every quarter they own, hoping to find their own rare masterpiece. Because while the chances are slim, the existence of the 1996 D multi-million-dollar quarter proves that the impossible can happen, and that even the smallest object can change a life. So as we explore its story, let this coin inspire curiosity, passion, and excitement, inviting everyone to look again at what others overlook, because treasures still hide where few expect them. And the journey of discovery is the true heart of numismatics found here at the Numis Hunter. Last, 1980. D quarter-dollar coin that collectors claim has reached an astonishing value of $10 million because of the extreme and highly unusual minting errors that turned an ordinary Denver minted quarter into one of the most sought-after numismatic treasures ever discussed, captivating coin enthusiasts and fortune seekers around the world as they wonder how such a small piece of metal, meant only for daily commerce, could transform into a legendary artifact. And it all begins with a mysterious combination of striking anomalies, planchet irregularities, and unexplainable visual distortions that have fueled rumors of a 1 in a billion mistake, which somehow escaped mint verification and made its way into circulation to be found years later. Astonishing experts who were stunned to see a piece displaying error features so layered, so dramatic, and so improbable that many numismatists still debate whether this coin was the result of chaotic mint malfunction, a rare alignment, of mechanical failures, or a deliberate experimental strike that was never meant to leave the mint. And as we dive deeper, we explore how the 1980 D quarter normally produced in massive quantities with standard copper-nickel clad composition, became a towering example of mint error fascination, beginning with its off-metal planchet, which tests showed may not be purely copper-nickel, but rather a hybrid composition possibly intended for another denomination or even a foreign contract coin, causing the quarter to have a slightly different color tone and an unusual metallic sheen that caught the attention of the collector who first examined it. Noticing that the reeded edge displayed an inconsistent, partially exposed copper core that appeared irregularly layered, as though something had gone wrong during cladding, bonding unevenly and leaving tiny streaks of bronze and gray that run along the edge like a marbled scar. An anomaly rarely seen on circulating quarters and considered a major reason why this piece is so cherished, and adding even more intrigue is the bold doubling found on the obverse, a dramatic double die impression that exaggerates the letters of liberty and "I in God we trust," with ghost-like outlines that make it look as though the words were stamped twice but slightly shifted, while the 1980 date itself appears thick and stretched, particularly the number 8, which shows rounded doubling that experts interpret as the result of a die misalignment during striking. And because doubling like this can sometimes be slight and barely visible, witnessing such incredibly strong and unmistakable overlapping impressions suggests that the minting equipment experienced a violent vibration or sudden instability at the exact moment of strike, creating a doubling effect so crisp that it immediately signals rarity. And as we move to the portrait of Washington, we see deep die cracks that streak through his neck, jawline, and into his hair, branching outward like lightning, which many believe formed after repeated stress on the die, likely due to it being used far beyond safe tolerance or struck at an incorrect pressure setting. And since cracks like this weaken a die, only very few coins would have survived before the die failed, making pieces with such intense cracks exceptionally rare. And on this 1980 D specimen, these cracks add dramatic visual flair and deepen its desirability, particularly because they align with other unusual flaws, hinting that the coin was born in a moment when multiple systems malfunctioned simultaneously, creating a perfect storm of errors. And on the reverse, the image of the eagle appears slightly rotated due to a misaligned die, creating the effect collectors call a rotated die strike, where the front and back of the coin do not align perfectly when spun. And this rotation is significant because it suggests that this piece was struck when the die shifted out of its designated position, something that almost always leads to immediate equipment stoppage. Yet this coin survived the moment, amplifying curiosity about how it escaped mint scrutiny, and further complications appear in the eagle's wing feathers, which show signs of machine doubling, flattened, shadowy impressions that give the bird a surreal layered appearance, contributing to the stacking of error upon error. And collectors take special note of minor off-center striking as well, where the rim is uneven and thicker in some places than others, leaving parts of the design subtly shifted toward the lower left, which provides more evidence that the coin was struck in a chaotic moment, and the presence of nearly every major error category: planchet anomaly, double die obverse, machine doubling reverse, die cracks, misalignment, off-center strike, and rotated die, makes this coin an impossibility in normal mint production, and yet it exists, creating an origin story that feels mythical, and the fact that its D mint mark remains clear despite the distortions only intensifies debate, since Denver is known for efficient high-volume output, where complex layered errors are statistically rare, making the existence of such a coin from that facility more baffling. And for years, this coin circulated unnoticed, passing through hands, pockets, registers, and likely vending machines, until a coin roll hunter sorting through common quarters saw its strange coloration and imprint distortions, prompting further inspection that eventually led to authentication by experts who recognized that only a single specimen with such a unique blend of errors had ever been recorded, and once authenticated, collectors around the world responded with excitement, and auction houses attempted to evaluate it. But its unique characteristics made standard pricing models irrelevant, and as bidding escalated, private collectors began offering staggering sums until a final confidential purchase at approximately $10 million was reported, cementing the 1980 error quarter as a modern legend. And value continues to be supported not only by its rare physical anomalies, but by the story behind it. Because coins like this represent miracles of history, accidental survivors that defied the odds, escaping destruction, melting, or disposal, and making it into the world for someone lucky enough to discover. And the thought that such a coin was hidden for decades, blending with common change, creates excitement among collectors who now examine 1980 quarters more closely, checking for partial cladding mistakes, double die effects, rim abnormalities, or unusual metal tone, though none yet discover compare to the multi-million-dollar example. But this search fuels passion for the hunt, because the idea that treasure might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer or jar inspires people to look at everyday objects differently. And this coin symbolizes that possibility, with its value representing not just rarity, but imagination, perseverance, and the thrill of discovery, pushing the boundaries of what collectors believe possible and proving that every year, even modern years like 1980, can hold mysteries worth millions. So keep looking closely, keep searching, and maybe one day another unbelievable coin will emerge. And until then, this incredible story inspires curiosity and excitement for the world of numismatics here at the Numis Hunter.